Hi, everyone. This is Lindsay Wood, the tiny home lady with Experience Tiny Homes, and I'm joined today with Jed Schultz. Hi, Jed.
Hello.
Thank you so much, Jed, for joining me here. You're in Arizona. I'm here in Northern California, and on Zoom we're able to connect. But you and I have actually been working with a number of clients in designing their tiny home. How has that process been going for you?
It's been exciting. It's fun to go tiny and take everybody's thoughts and make them reality. It's a fun process, but there are some basic things that we have to do in order to do the right steps to make it less complicated for the customer. So that's where we get together and have some fun doing it.
Absolutely. So give me a little bit of background as to like, how did you get into this whole architectural drawings, floor plans, renderings, all the great stuff? And if people don't understand all the words I just shared, Jed is going to be showing us, on his computer what I'm meaning regarding all that. But we'd love to know more about you and, how you arrived at knowing how to do all this great stuff on the computer.
Gotcha. So I went to school for architecture in Oregon. After that, I worked for many firms in the Oregon and Vancouver area designing houses. And then it was just recently within the last 2 years where I decided to go tiny. And what's fun about going tiny is we take the principles of living in a residential home and just make it smaller. So it's challenging, which is very rewarding in the long run. But we're able to have all those amenities that we like and our bigger homes and put them into something that is smaller and definitely less economically, expensive.
Yeah, right, absolutely. And so I'm so curious, what's the biggest home you've designed and what's the smallest home you've designed? Because I've seen your designs.
So the biggest one was about 10,000 square feet, which is crazy. And then the smallest is just a little 20 or actually 12-foot trailer that I don't know that I have any pictures on my site right now, but they'll be on there soon for people to see. But it's amazing what you can even do on a 12-foot trailer.
Absolutely. So an 8 foot wide or 8.5 foot wide by 12 feet long. Yeah.
Correct.
That is
Correct.
like your classic quintessential tiny home that my buddy Jay Schaefer launched, way back in the early 2000s. So that's
Yeah.
super great to be connecting. So what we've been working on, just to get back into that whole line drawing, conceptual, and 3D rendering, let's dive into your computer if you share your screen and take us
Sure.
on a little visual journey of really how design starts in your world. A lot of where, I work with the client to really get an idea. We use this concept of rocks, pebbles, sand. So the rocks are like the big questions: what size trailer? What what kind of roofing? What type of trailer? Down into the pebbles where we're really going to talk like what type of wall, interior, exterior walls, and then down to the sand where we talk about color. But
Hmm.
you use different realities, and very much applied in the world of architecture. So spatial
Yep.
planning is the wording that you've used before, and I'm fascinated.
Definitely. What I'm showing right now is a basic floor plan. Now, the biggest first step in coming up with your tiny home design is spatial planning. What I mean by that is figuring how big do we want the bathroom area to be? How big of a kitchen do we want? Is it going to have a bottom floor bedroom that's going to be multi-use, or is it going to have a wall separating a separate bedroom? Or in some cases, is the bedroom going to be upstairs on a loft scenario? Now, depending on what we decide on all of that is going to have different limitations. One of the biggest things with going tiny is that there are limitations when you're trying to move it without getting a permit. So the width would be 8.5 feet wide, the height would be 13.5 feet tall. Now, when we do that, the trailer height to just the bottom floor is 2 feet. So in reality, we only have 11.5 feet internally to design. So when you're doing a loft bedroom, you have to have that loft down low in order to have the head clearance up there in order to make it a true second story room. So it's more and most of the designs, a lot of people put them on the bottom floor so that they have the true clearance, but then do a loft where it's just a bed where you just crawl up there and you step up onto a bed. But all of those type of things are definitely things to look into and, come up with your plan.
One thing note about this is one of our clients that the door was in a different place because when she was writing it down on paper and then took it to computer, she was not including the axles and tires because on paper,
Correct.
there is no place, but you really have to incorporate that because the last thing you want to do is step up over an axle or tire. It just would be too high.
Correct. So, and a flat trailer application, we do have to take into consideration the wheel wells because if you did a buildup on there of the whole trailer to cover the wheel wells, now you're going up another foot, and now you're taking out of your tiny home space. So it's just not usually the practice with a flat trailer. Now, when you go to a gooseneck, sometimes the goosenecks are built up where there aren't any wheel wells, and it's just a different application. So the trailer is your foundation in this case. So therefore, it's one of the first things you need to decide with. Are you going to go with a flat trailer? Or are you going to go with a gooseneck trailer? Both different design applications depending on what you decide.
And the flat one is also can be called a bumper pull, so
right.
I think, there's a lot of terminology out there. So bumper pull, like literally it's connected to the bumper area of your truck, whereas the gooseneck goes up and over. I know because we have a gooseneck and we drove 6,000 miles with it. One of the deeper benefits of the gooseneck is travel. A lot of people don't travel. 99% of people that have a tiny home, it's portability is one of the benefits, but they usually don't travel it like an RV.
What I'm going to do now is
more pictures.
So what I'm going to do now is, so obviously as we design the plans, we're going to have floor plans. In some cases, there'll be a second floor, and that's what this is showing. Some of the neat things that we're going to create are all the elevation views. So this allows you to see the different angles of the tiny home and really get an idea of what it's going to look like. And then depending on the package you go with, we are going to offer, well, let me do this one first. Every single one will also get building sections where it's going to have a little bit more detail of what's going on with the walls and the flooring systems and roof systems in order to kind of give you a good idea for the builder of how you're going to build it. Now, the other good portion is the conceptual 3Ds. With this, now you get a view that gives you a model view of what's going on. And if you're very visual, this is one of the best ways to really know what's going to happen with your tiny home. This is another view.
Let me here for a second. One of the things that our client here, she didn't quite have an image of this exact type of roof, but she wanted a gable roof, which was a 112. That means for every 12 inches, it goes up 1 inch. Is that how
Correct.
That works? Okay.
Yeah, correct.
And she wanted a gable, she wanted dormers, and she wanted a bump out. So you were able to blend multiple pictures that she put together in this Google Doc where, this didn't exist yet until you actually created it. And it's so exciting because we just sent this to her. But I really like you were able to pull all those pieces together.
Yep. And the other neat thing is as I design it and make the model, now we can spin it around, see it from all the different angles. And dependent on how, to what level we take the design again, some of the interior options, like you can see through the window, you can see the stairs in there. That kind of makes it fun. And in some cases, we can even put the true casework of the cabinetry in it so you can see it again, depending on what level the client wants to take it in order to get the most visual effects out of it.
Absolutely.
And then let's see what else. Now, we also through, and I haven't even, I don't know if I've even shared this with you, but I have designs that I've done for trailers as well. So if a customer if a customer needed a bumper pole style trailer as an option, I have plans to create them, and I'll just quickly go through them to show, you know, kind of what this is. But this gives a person the ability to have a custom builder weld a trailer for them. This particular one was for a 30-foot wide by 8.5 feet wide, or 8.5 foot wide, 30 feet long trailer. But it could always be modified to meet whatever the needs are. If it was 26, 28, you know, they would just do the math to reduce it.
Absolutely.
So very exciting. Another thing we do is a roof plan, just telling things like you were talking about, the slope. If it's a gable roof, then there's a ridge line. If it's a shed, then it, you know, we show that. And then we usually call out the style of roofing. In this case, I'm calling out corrugated metal roofing with a metal band flashing on the outer edge as the fascia. For going tiny, this seems to be the best style of roof because it's the most durable, especially when you're transporting it. Less likelihood to have the weather affect it, and it can handle the wind and the moving and so on.
The standing seam metal is very popular. Still a metal roof, but definitely having that flatter, and then that, you know, ridge, and then flatter and ridge, and a little more expensive than probably the corrugated. But either way, so in terms of the builders that our clients are going to be working with, you know, we are not builders. We're designers, consultants. We help people put together their material specifications, because one part of this bid package that we're putting together is the design. The other part is the questions you're going to ask each builder. And then the other part is the whole materials list, the appliances. You know, are you specifying, you know, cedar shiplap? Are you going to do it vertically in this picture? Or are you going to put it horizontally? You know, all those things can be represented in the rendering once we get into that deeper understanding of your specifications. So those really work cohesively. And then we put together all three of them and then send them out to builders, about 2 to 5 builders, to really get the ideal builder for the client.
Correct. Yep. So yeah. So, and along the way, I mean, everybody, as they look at their designs and we get the preliminaries done, there is the chance for the client to change their mind or want to add something. That's what's nice about our being versatile. We can pretty much take their vision and create it. And things change. We may start creating something, and you may start with a 26-footer, and next thing you know, you're saying, nope, I need that extra 4 feet. Let's make it a 30-footer. We can do that. Obviously, we're having to add some extra design into it, but it is something that we can do. So don't get scared if all of a sudden you change your mind and you want to, you know, go bigger.
Absolutely. So, and it is a layered effect. You know, if for some reason you just wanted to add another foot to something, or the loft needed to shrink, or, you know, obviously you're not going to go much taller than 13.6, you know, not recommended. But if all of a sudden you wanted to change, like in this model, if all of a sudden, you know, the kitchen was to go to somewhere totally different and things were to drastically change, then we're just looking at a different revision and a different model of design of a home.
Correct.
Still doable, you know, but the packages we've designed together really help lay out for someone, you know, to choose from that, you know, floor plan design to more of the conceptual to really the 3D rendering. where you can really go in and see how things are working. You can even choose, coloring, if that really helps. So all kinds of things are available. Oh, and
Yes.
one more thing, you can even locate it. Let's say you actually have a piece of property and you want to get an idea of how it's going to look in the property. Jed can take that home and actually place it with a picture provided of the property onto the backyard. And so you can see it. You can add, if you wanted to go further into well, I'd like to now figure out the decking, the landscaping, all of that.
Yeah, that's the amazing part of this program is you can get pretty close to photorealistic renderings by importing the design that we've created with a photo that the client would provide to make it as realistic as we can. And then we add our own little trees and bushes and decks and so on to the design to make it all look as if it was built right there on that site.
So. Give it the texture. All right. Well, give us another spin of this cool little tiny home in the 3D mode.
All right.
Seeing that thing visually, it really helps someone that is looking at a home like this just to see how it is going to interact, from many different angles. I love that beautiful picture window that she's choosing on this one and all the windows there. And the extension of that bump out with the gable and the dormer mix, it was perfect. I think she's going to be very excited. Thank you so much, Jed, for your time. And
thank you. Appreciate it.
Look forward to, if anyone's looking for design as well as consulting on their tiny home dream, tiny home, check out experiencetinyhomes.org or at Experience Tiny Homes on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Thanks, Jed. Have a great day.
Thank you too. Bye.
So now that you've had a chance to meet Jed and learn a little bit more about the spatial planning, let's talk about those packages. So we want to start with the floor plan package. And this package is $1,700 and it has 3 2-hour design calls, 2 revisions, and you get 2D line drawings with that package, looking like this picture up here. We'll go and show that more of those in a moment. You'll get 8 line drawing perspectives. The material specification list review is included. There will actually be guidelines as to how to create that. And then a builder analysis for up to 2 to 5 builders. Insurance quote is included. And if there's any additional revisions, they're $250. So let me show you a little bit more about that. Sorry, share my screen again. So when we say 2D line drawings, these are the line drawings that many builders are familiar with because Jed, as you heard, is an architect and went to architectural school. And so these are the type of drawings that builders look to. All right. And when we get down into these down here, this is more of conceptual. 3D conceptual. They can be black and white, they can be color, but you can see already there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of the elevations. And then there's the top down, the first floor and the second floor view, as well as the roofing view and a cross section of the actual rafters and joists and studs. And that's pretty much the line perspective, the line drawing perspective for the first package. We jump over to the conceptual package, building off of a floor plan, you'll get the same 2D line drawings, 8 of those. You'll also get up to 4 3D conceptuals, as well as everything else is included. So back to those 3D conceptual, that's this right here. And you can actually turn them around and get a lot of different perspective of that. And there's just 2 of those perspectives right there. And you'll get up to 4. And if we go all the way to the rendering package, now this is looking a little bit more like a tiny home. And then you'll get those 8 line drawing, 4 of the 3D conceptual drawings, and then 1 3D rendering as pictured here with this tiny home and the colors and the deck and all of that. So if you want an interior rendering or an exterior rendering, those come along with the conceptual. And of course, for each package, you go up in terms of the design time, as well as the number of revisions. So hopefully that was helpful for you to really understand more about what we offer here at Experience Tiny Homes. Check us out at experiencetinyhomes.org or on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Experience Tiny Homes. Thank you, everyone.